Hi Matt, I'm Keith from Performanta.
I'm Matt Locke from Varonis. Nice to meet you.
Yeah, and to you. Matt, I just wanted to have a quick conversation. We've got a lot of customers approaching us almost on a daily basis, talking to us about GDPR and the relevance to them as an organization and how they're going to address some of the compliance issues that are coming out off the back of that. And I just wanted to find out, how could Varonis help us and help those customers?
So that's absolutely a fantastic question. It's what we're spending most of our time doing now. So GDPR is all about data. It's all about making sure that companies have a handle on the PII information that they're holding, where it's located and the access around it. So this is something that Varonis has been doing for over a decade now. So we are spending a lot of our time helping customers build up that digital asset register, understanding where the information is, and being able to plan what they need to do and how they're going to go about removing the information that they don't need and locking down the data that they should be locking down.
Okay, so you could actually help the organizations essentially expire unwanted data that they don't necessarily need to keep.
Absolutely, and data that's relevant to GDPR, but also data that's relevant to them as a company that may be sensitive, it may be customer related. Anything that's important to them, it's about being able to find out where it is, understanding the access and who's touching it, who in the business is going to help you make those decisions, so who are the owners, and then actually actioning against it, as you said, actually removing the stuff you don't need, de-risking the environment, we call it, and also, making sure that you are applying the articles and the principles that GDPR is laying down, which is privacy by design and accountability of the data that you're holding.
Great. And I mean, are you helping organizations with, I guess, taking it one step further, discovering the information, helping them classify that information? Because again, that's another point that we keep getting asked. A lot of it is being driven around the GDPR conversation. Sure,
yeah. So yeah, absolutely. The first thing that companies need to do is know where it is. It's a very worthwhile exercise to be able to classify and tag and document the files that you have. But you need to know where it is first. And of course you need to know whether it's something you should be spending your time and effort focusing on. If we don't need it, let's get rid of it. But the information that you do need to hold on to, yes, so that's what we do. We help you classify it, we help you find out where it is, and we help you ensure that the access and the control around it is correct.
Okay, and what about if customers are using cloud systems? We hear becoming more and more relevant every day. I mean, I think we thought many years ago that customers would have already adopted cloud, but there seems to be a lot of cloud adoption still going on today. What happens if they're running a cloud platform? How do we offer security around that?
Well, Varonis offers it in the same way that we have for on-premise stuff. So in terms of how we get involved in cloud, there's sort of a different phased approach. Companies are now embracing this cloud methodology and wanting to put data in the cloud. I think they're realizing now that they don't want to put everything in the cloud. So again, they need to know where it is and what's important, what should be in the cloud, what should never be in the cloud. And we then provide the same level of governance and visibility about the data that you're holding up there, the activity around that data, whether you should be holding onto it or not, but also the threats and the potential loss of that information as well. So who's touching it, who's having a sniff around, who has too much access, who's potentially trying to remove that information. But again, cloud, on-premise, it's the same platform for Varonis, it's the same level of visibility.
Okay, that's fantastic. I mean, do you have data is almost becoming more relevant than it ever has been before. I mean, do you have ways of alerting if people are accessing information they shouldn't be accessing, or accessing data and using data in ways they shouldn't be?
Absolutely, and that's just part and parcel of what our data security platform does. In order to be able to make these alerts and make these suggestions that something strange and wonderful is happening, you need to be able to understand what their typical behavioral patterns are. So what Varonis does is we learn the different accounts you have on your network, we learn the data they have access to, we start to build up a picture of what their behavioral patterns are, their normal usage, where they come in from, the devices they use, when they log on, their typical working hours, and all of this then helps us make an informed decision as to whether somebody is touching information that they don't typically touch very often, and they're behaving in a way that is sort of different to their peers, and it might suggest that they're looking to remove the information, to obfuscate the information, to do something that might jeopardize the company.
Okay, and data aside, so we understand you've potentially got quite a few different remedies for data itself, but what about some of our clients, especially our larger enterprise clients, have had probably IT systems from when IT first came into practice on a large scale in organizations. But for some of those organizations, one of the big issues has always been permission management, managing permissions on folders and files. Could Varonis potentially help with that as well as the actual data itself?
Oh, it's key to what we do. So Varonis builds a framework that allows companies to not only identify where the data is, but also get an idea of the access. So understanding the permissions, understanding the visibility of who's touching it, but then not only making suggestions of where data that's overexposed could be, reduced, but also where employees and where accounts have too much access, where they've managed to gain access because they've temporarily got access and then it was never taken away, or they may have moved jobs and changed departments, or their account was cloned at the beginning of their career. So being able to make those recommendations and remove the access that they don't need is absolutely critical, and critical to GDPR. This is that privacy by design, and for us as a company, it's about implementing least privilege. So not only do we want to help you, but we also want you to get the business to help you as well. Because really there's no one better place to help you make sure that you've got it right.
Fantastic. Well, thank you very much.
Yeah, no problem at all. Thank you.
Nice to meet you.
And you.